11. And yeah, Susie, you brought up some really good points of they're not that. How do you go from the truth to not the truth? I mean, but in our own families, it doesn't take but a generation, right? And the more I read about the Bible, the more I'm like, man, it's just stubborn.
Forgetful.
Yeah. Most people that you witness to, the rejection of the gospel is not, I don't believe it's true. It's, I'm okay. I don't need that. It might even be completely true. As a matter of fact, try this. If you're ever witnessing to somebody and it doesn't seem to be going well, just ask them this question. If I can prove without a shadow of a doubt that Christianity is real, would you turn to it? No. It's the heart of man. And it's almost like, when we study Judges, we're just like, how? Why? God delivered you. How long does it take for you to completely reject him? Moses is gone for 40 days. How long does it take for Israel to be worshiping a golden calf that's made by the high priest? We're stupid. That's a pretty biblical thing, huh? We're just dumb. All right. So Genesis 11, the whole earth was of one language and one speech. Sorry, I had to get to my glasses on this one. And it's not simply talking about one language, because they're one language and one speech. The idea is one language and one lip. They're one culture. For instance, you guys, really aren't in public school, so you may not know all these things, okay? But what are some words that nobody else will know in this room? That the younger generations use, but there's just no way Susie will know what it is.
Yeah, that's a few.
Huh?
Sigma.
Oh, Sigma.
Or Riz.
Yeah.
Look, no,
I don't know.
Wait. Susie, if I were to say no cap, what does that mean?
No cap.
Exactly. Okay. So if you will, we understand that there's multiple cultures and subcultures, and part of what we get concerned about with immigration is not necessarily the language, but will they understand British culture? And that's part of issues. Now, back in these days, the whole earth was of the same language and of the same culture. Nobody asked their kids, what does that mean? They were all the same. And it came to pass, verse 2, as they journeyed from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Now, just a little, going back to verse 8, and Cush begat, back to chapter 10, and Cush begat Nimrod and began to be a mighty one in the earth, and he was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord, and the beginning of his kingdom was Babel. So even though he's not specifically mentioned right here, it is the idea that he was the gang leader.
And it's the same land.
Yeah, exact same land, correct. And it came to pass as he journeyed from the east, they found the plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone and slime they had for mortar. So these weren't dim people. They were intelligent. They understood how to build things, make things. Now get verse 4. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make a name, which is interesting. Shem, the great-great-great-great-great-grandfather of the promised people, Shem means name. And this is kind of almost like a play on words. This is almost like the very first, if you will, satanic idea, I think, of replacing, of destroying the line for Messiah. They want to be that name. They want to be that Shem. Let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. Why did they want to make a name for themselves? So they didn't what?
Separate?
Get scattered upon the face of the earth. By the way, spoiler alert, guess what happened to them?
Scattered.
They got scattered. Part of the issue here is when God's word is rejected, when his word is discarded, man will commit the ultimate acts of treason by trying to belittle God and bringing himself up. That's what's going on here. Let us go to heaven. Maybe we can overthrow God. I mean, this is the idea. This is who Nimrod is, and this is the reason why before the Lord, this is obviously why he got his attention. Nimrod was a man of pride.
His name translated means we will rebel.
Oh.
By the way, could you imagine?
His what? His nan?
His name.
His name.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
yeah. But it might have been his nan that named him. Who knows? But could you imagine having your little child and naming your child, you're going to be a rebel,
Yeah.
right? I mean, people. I know one person. He named his son Jonathan Danger, and and the surname. And he said, because I want him to be able to say my middle name's Danger. Okay, but there are people choose different names.
Oh my God.
I've heard people who name their kids Delilah. I'm like, what? Why? Or Rebel, or these are actual names, and these names. This is why some people actually have a problem with the Old Testament, because they go, these names match too much what they're like. And I'm like, actually, that tells me more about the accuracy of the scriptures more than anything else. And they want to make a name. And verse 5, and the Lord came down to see the city and the tower where the children of men builded. Now, when it says he came down, it just means that he looked at it. He's omnipresent, right? It doesn't mean that he had to leave and he's absent from one place to go to another place. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. All right, I want you to consider this. Consider how fast technology has gotten since the invention of the internet. There are no more language barriers. You could walk around with an earpiece and it translates on the fly. I can speak into my phone, speech to text. Sometimes it doesn't always come out perfectly, but as it's improving, any bit of knowledge we want is available. And the Bible even says in the end days that the knowledge of man is going to rapidly increase. We're almost of one people again. We're almost of one language again. And because of that, we're building on top of each other. And it used to be technology doubled if you think about the history of mankind, every 1,000 years, now technology is doubling at the rate of about once every 2 or 3 months. Consider that. For those that are old enough to remember computers when they first came out, I do. I remember when they were being sold. I remember laptop, the first accessible laptop. I mean, about 2,000 pounds. Man, that was great. That was a bargain. Now, greater laptops now, much cheaper, right? But consider this. I remember when they came out with, hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen, the 1 gigabyte hard drive. And I had a friend that worked for Hewlett Packard in their techs division. And I said, what does anybody need with a gigabyte? You'll never fill that. And I wasn't an old crotchety old man or anything like that. I had my finger on the pulse of technology. I was cutting edge. And he said, shut up. And he said, he said, yeah, the looks like technology is trying to get to the point where we're going to have, our phones are going to have cameras and like they'll be like our boom boxes. That's, things that play music. And all that will have to go on surge. Everything will be digital. And I went, wow, not a chance. Now, I mean, if you buy something with just 1 gigabyte of hard drive, it's worthless. When the new iPhone comes out, just pay attention to the storage size. Pay attention to the size of the iOS systems. Pay attention to these things. Knowledge. Facial recognition. I mean, do you understand, like, if you're naughty at Disney, they can ban you from the parks, and they literally have your face on everywhere. And if you try to enter in, the system automatically goes, loser, don't let them in. I mean, I'm not speaking from experience. But if you look at casinos, the type of security it's just mind-blowing. Traffic cameras. To think that you can be speeding down the road on one thing, it takes, the average speed camera, it looks at your plate here, and then over there, it looks at your plate again, and it gets the timing, and it can tell you all this right on the fly. And that's old technology. So I'm not saying they were close to that point, but I think there's something to be said about that because of their speech and because of their desire to rebel. And when we go back before the flood, we go back to where the thoughts of man was only evil continually. And now it's happening again.
No,
Yes, ma'am.
I've always been led to believe that if you understand what goes on at the Tower of Babel or Babel, you get a better understanding of Revelations 14 and 17, which is pretty much what you're saying, end time stuff. So what they were trying to achieve there, with like a one world, with like a government,
Yeah.
a religion.
Satan doesn't change.
It's the same.
He does not change. He does the same thing over and over and over again. He doesn't change. Yeah.
So he obviously Satan is going to be, as Satan is the Antichrist, or
Yeah.
Satan, the Antichrist.
Yeah.
Wasn't Nimrod like one of the first Antichrists?
Well, he certainly was anti-God.
Had power.
Yeah.
Anybody could be a type of Antichrist, couldn't they?
Sure.
But it's got power, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
but the whole idea of Antichrist, getting New Testament here, is you have Christ, and this individual is the antithesis of who Christ is. The Bible speaks. John says there's many antichrists, but the one in Revelation is the Antichrist. Yes, sir.
To add a point. No.
Okay.
You said that in the end times it said something
Oh boy.
about man will increase in their knowledge.
Yeah.
It does not equate to wisdom.
No, knowledge and wisdom are different things.
Yeah, we have more knowledge to our disposal now, but yeah, we have some of the dumbest kids and people that I've ever seen. It's insane.
We do. I mean, but the whole thing's stupid.
Yeah.
Just the whole entire, and it's all pride. Okay, if you will, we're at a time right now, and I'm not asking you to take sides on this, but there's just a reality. You have Iran and the United States. The technology that the United States has is so advanced. Like modern warfare is literally trying to hold back. It used to be, let's just completely overwhelm the enemy and wipe them out. Now, modern warfare is, okay, well, we could do that, but let's try to leave things in place. Now, what keeps Iran going? Pride. It is. There's arrogance there that and it's been around for. By the way, I'm not saying the U.S. is not without pride, but pride has been that great motivating factor. If you think about, we even have a month dedicated to pride, and it certainly isn't trying to glorify God. Pride is such a wicked thing, and that is the antithesis of Christ. It's the antithesis of God. It's a lack of humility. These people had the lack of humility, and so God says in verse 7, He says, verse 6 again. And the Lord said, "Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do." So, whatever's going on, their rebellion, whatever their mind is setting to, they're able to do. Now, of course, they're not going to be able to overthrow God or anything like that. But their rebellion of this super religion that they're trying to make, it says that, nothing's going to hold them back. So, verse 7, let us go down. Could you please circle that word us?
Just worse.
I just have a habit, whenever I see the Godhead mentioned in Scripture, I like just drawing a little circle. Let us go down. Well, who went down? Who went down and there confounded their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them from that. See? Us, the Lord. See that? Right from the beginning. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel. By the way, if somebody's just blah, 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 what are they doing? Babbling. Okay? Now, it seems that God confused their language with intelligence. What do I mean by that? It means that if you look around the globe, you can normally pinpoint languages down to I think it's 9 different root languages. And so these people, their languages were really divided with a big subgroup, but I think there was other languages interfering in between. And just naturally, our language, again, we talk about, what does this word mean in the King James language? They still spoke English, but the words have changed over time. And so we begin to ask questions, imagining God in one instant completely confounding their language. And so now you don't, if language is a hard thing, how do you divide people?
Who you can communicate with.
Who you can communicate with, that's one of them. If everybody in here doesn't know a single person, we all go into a room, nobody knows a single person. Some people just hide in a corner, okay? But But when we try to speak to somebody or spend time with somebody, what is that first initiating thing that draws us to another person?
Smile.
Smile, but a lot of people can smile. It's actually how they look. And I think this is also where we get like classic ethnic groups, colors, looks, coming together. I think this is just, it's not a racist thing. It just was a natural thing. And it still is a natural thing. When you're just trying to figure out who's who, you're happy with anybody look, we could say whatever we want about Roman Catholics, but if we're in the middle of a Muslim country and the only other person over there is a Catholic, we will probably be friends with that Catholic real quick. Okay? Not.
That's kind of what 10 is explaining, though, giving us all the names and the.
Okay. Exactly. So you see why it's spread out.
Yeah.
And now, but why are they so different? Chapter 11 explains why they are so different. Even though they have a common ancestry, why their ethnicities so different, their language and their lip. Okay? Therefore, verse 9, the name of it is called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them upon the face of the earth. So not only was there a confusion of the language, but God caused them to scatter. And people that weren't normally with each other, they ended up getting into the group because of different languages and different cultures. Now, verse 10, these are the generations of Shem. Why are we going back to the generations of Shem? Didn't we just do that? Why is Shem important?
Well, in my book it says the line to Abraham.
That's exactly why. It's the line to Abraham. Why is Abraham important?
It's the line to Christ.
Because that's the line to Christ. Why is it important to the Hebrews?
You like their father.
Their patriarchs, their forefathers.
Right, their forefathers. Right? Father Abraham?
And many sons.
But he didn't. And, it goes Abraham, then Isaac, then Jacob. And now we see, so it's important that they regroup on Shem. And Shem was 100 years old and begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years and begat sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 35 years and begat Salah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Salah 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Salah lived 30 years and begat Eber. Why is Eber important? Hebrew, all right. Again, we're trying to get a straight line to the Hebrew people. He begat Eber 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 34 years and begat Peleg. Same guy. Okay, so again, chapter 10, we looked broad. Now we're narrowing again. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and begat Reu. And Peleg lived after he begat Reu 209 years and begat sons and daughters. And Reu lived 230 years and begat Serug. Now, Peleg, if I'm right on this, the flood about 2350 BC, Peleg about 2247 BC. About 102, 103 years later after the flood. Babel happened in 2234, and so it just continues down. So these are all, I don't know why I have my sunglasses anymore. Verse 21, Reu lived and begat Serug 207 years and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and begat Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years and begat Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now, let's stop here for a second. Can somebody turn to Joshua chapter 11, verse 2? Once you get there, just read it out, please. Joshua 11, verse 2.
I've got a different translation.
Well, we'll shoot you later. Go ahead. Okay.
And to the kings who were in the northern hill country and in the hill of Arab, south of Chinneroth, and in the lowland, and in Nathoth Dor of the west.
That's Joshua?
Joshua 11.
Joshua 11, 2? Do we have that? I could have written it down incorrectly. Hold on, let's see. Joshua.
He doesn't believe you.
I knew you had a dodgy translation. Joshua 11, verse 2. I just want to make sure I have it right. If one of you have a online concordance, maybe you can...
What are you looking for? Or what?
where it says Terah worshipped idols. So if somebody can find that real quick, and I'll change what I wrote in my Bible. It says Terah and idols. Can anybody find that? Apparently my version is as dodgy as yours because it's not there.
Serve that God.
What?
Joshua 24:2.
24:2, maybe.
And Joshua said unto all the people, thus saith the Lord of Israel, your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time, even Terah, the father of Abraham, the father of Nachor, and they served other gods.
Okay, there we go. All right, so I don't know why I said 11, but 24. I just missed it by 13 chapters. And Terah, the father of Abraham, worshipped other gods. Why is this important? What does this say about the pedigree of the Jewish people?
Not perfect.
Not perfect. Exactly. What does this say about Abraham or Abram? Does this mean that he also worshipped false gods?
Would have grown up in the same.
He could have grown up, but does it mean that he worshipped? No, because again, the time frame is enough where he might have spoken to great-great-great-great-great-grandpa Noah, and Noah said, your dad is a moron. Here's the true God. Right? That certainly is possible. So be careful because some people will say this, and it bugs me. They'll say, Abram didn't even know who God was, and God chose him out of nobody. He didn't even. He was an idol worshiper. Like, what?
Why would that matter though? I don't know either way, but why does that matter?
Because it gives it would give Abram almost a free ride to salvation. Because if he's an idol worshiper and he's still in the midst of idols, why does God bless him so much?
We're all idol worshippers in our own way. Sinners, is there?
All right, well, hold on. Let's work on definitions. Sinners, the biblical idea of a sinner is somebody that does some really terrible things, okay? In other words, prostitutes. It's not just, I took an extra cookie. Yes, that's wrong, okay? Well, when the Bible talks about sinners, when it uses that phrase, it's not for Christians. It is those people that are doing some of those despicable things. When the Pharisees said, Jesus, why do you eat with tax collectors and sinners? Okay, they're talking about a certain group of people. But when we say idol worshipers, I think that's too broad of a term. Because when we talk about idol worshipers, please think of not just, oh, I'm not doing what God said, but think of going after a golden calf, rejecting God, wholesale losing it. If you will, an idol worshiper has abandoned God and now wholeheartedly gone after false gods. It's not a light move. Did you have your hand up? No.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
idol worship is called adultery to God.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Correct. So it's not. It's never a slight thing, in Scripture, and so the idol worship would be that Abram just was okay. Yeah. Okay.
You're saying Abraham, it was not a full-blown adulterer against God.
Right. And there are some that are so desperate to speak of the sovereignty of God that says, see, Abraham hated God, and God says, well, that doesn't matter. You're now the father of my people. Now, I'm not saying Abraham got this because he deserved it. Abraham believed God, and it was counted unto him as righteousness. Okay? And just like Noah found grace. Noah didn't deserve anything. He found grace. But certainly there's reasons why God was able to show grace. Does that make sense? Okay.
Can I ask one more question?
No, these are good questions.
But because of the severity of this adultery, idol worship, that's why they're starting to live less long. Live shorter lives.
If Creation Ministries thinks that the atmosphere was different.
Yeah. I would. Yeah, when he said to Noah, "You'll live 120 or something."
That mankind is
I think that's where my brain sits there. But this bit here, I feel is that a different. Well,
we certainly see the difference.
Atmosphere. There's two different things really.
So
going on there.
go ahead,
I
Noah.
noticed that Peleg was the first one, so his dad lived twice as long, so they were all like 400, and then from him it goes down to 200, which was the Babylon time. So I was going to ask if there's anything to do with Babylon.
So I think a shortened life is God's grace. Okay? What do I mean by that? When you're given bad health news, one of the very first things as a Christian is you prepare your soul. Illness, death, and disease is God's great gift to people to say, one day this life is going to be over. No matter what, it's going to be over. Are you ready? Now, I wonder about what you guys are saying. My only hesitation to full on say yes, maybe two things, is that the Bible isn't specific about it. But I think that the people were crazy wicked during the time of Noah. And they still lived long times. So maybe it's atmospherical. Maybe it is the watering of DNA. Maybe it's also God's judgment on them. I can't dismiss any of those possibilities.
Worth looking into, isn't it?
I definitely won't throw those out. Rebecca.
This might be a silly question, but what do you mean by like the atmosphere changed? Like,
So
how would that affect their life?
So when we look at amber with air pockets
Okay.
that we believe are pre-flood, it seems that the oxygen content is doubled in those. Now, does anybody know what a hyperbaric chamber is?
Kim does.
Huh? Kim. Okay.
It's like an iron lung thing.
Yeah, it basically, let's say, you guys remember that little girl that fell down the well? And I guess it was a slow news day and the whole world looked at it. And they got her out and her leg was black because it just didn't have, it was squished, no blood was going to it. And they put her in a hyperbaric chamber. and the leg almost became fully healed again. It's the idea of we're going to put how do your cells live? Oxygen. Anatomy lesson here. We breathe, goes into our lungs. Okay, what does our lungs do with that oxygen? Cardiovascular, right? Our heart brings it in and out. What is the purpose of the heart? Shoving that blood all over the place. Diabetics have sticky, thick blood, right? So what is the two big dangers for a diabetic?
Loss of limbs.
Loss of limbs. The extremities. The blood can't get to those extremities. Or eyesight. It doesn't get to those areas. And so once that is the purpose of your heart, not just moving blood, but getting oxygen to these levels. So if the oxygen levels were higher, the thought process is they almost lived in a hyperbaric chamber.
Disease was
That
able to.
disease, things healed crazy rapidly. That's the thought. Maybe Sunday night, ask. Say, I think my pastor's a bit dodgy on this one. I have a question for you. Okay?
So you're basically saying the atmosphere changed once the water covered the earth.
Yeah.
Atmosphere.
Yeah, because
And
the firmament.
Of our,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I do. I do.
Don't believe you, I just don't understand the science. But that's probably because I might ask the
Ask.
Genesis people.
Ask.
The,
Again, remind him that your pastor's dodgy.
yeah, I will.
But they probably already know. Verse 27. And these are the generations of Terah. And Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran begat Lot. Okay. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity in Ur of the Chaldees. That's southern Iraq. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. And the name of Abram's wife was Sarai. And the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Ishka. But, now for those who play the piano, Gene, this is where you would hit a minor key. Boom, boom, boom. But Sarai was barren. She had no child. Okay, so now it seems like they did a good job of taking care of Lot, that they were, that they doted upon him. Abram seemed to be kind of a wealthier guy. Everybody needs a good rich uncle, right? Lot had one. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, and his son Abram's wife, and they went with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. So just to give you an idea, you have Iraq, you have Canaan. Up here is Haran, where Turkey and Syria are. They go from here to here, and they kind of stop there. They're not yet going into Canaan. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Okay, so this is all, again, very, very broad. We narrowed at Tower Babel. Now we're getting broad again. Now we're getting another genealogy. Why? Because we're about to narrow in on one person, Abram. And if you think about this, we're at chapter 11. The next 39 chapters is all about Abram and his descendant. Okay? Any questions on this?
I thought it was just interesting that Haran dies before his father. It's just to mention that. You don't hear that in any of the other genealogies.
No.
The son dies before the father.
Yeah.
I wondered why then. I don't know whether that was relevant to why.
Maybe that's why they stopped there?
Decided to leave.
Maybe.
As in, because, wasn't like the Chaldees was meant to be like really affluent and rich, wasn't it?
Correct. And that's probably why why Abram took Lot, why he felt responsible for him. Because it's in the family. Yeah.
But it's just Terah, isn't it, at the minute?
Yeah.
It's leaving, the one that's leaving, not Abraham.
Yeah, and we don't see that very often. You're right. Any other thoughts? Okay.